Hello and welcome to the very first episode of the Blind Truth podcast. Today we are joined by a very special guest, and it is David J Ridley, who is an ex-policeman, an ex-ambulance worker, and is currently a disabled actor. Good afternoon, Dave, and thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Phil.
No problem. So tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, where you were brought up, and take it from there.
Okay, I was born in Levenshulme, Manchester, in the house, so it was a home birth. Parents moved from there in 1967 to Hale, where we are now, and we still have the family home, even though my parents have passed away. Currently married with two sons. One of them has moved out and is engaged to his fiancée, Megan. They have a little girl called Scarlett, who's obviously a granddaughter.
Oh, lovely.
And Daniel, by a previous relationship, had another granddaughter called Lexi. At home, obviously, I lived there with my wife and my eldest son, Adam. He is a mobile valeter. Daniel, the other son, is a gardener. So that's quite handy, having them around.
So you got a nice garden and a lovely shiny car.
Oh, that's it. Yeah. Well, you've seen the cars, so yeah.
Yes, I have seen your car, Dave. It's more of a boy toy than a car.
Yeah, but it's a shiny boy toy.
Just so everyone knows, is it a Land Rover? It's 4x4, isn't it?
Land Rover, Land Rover 4x4,
with all the big wheels and the fancy lights and
all the graphics.
Has it got a snorkel?
No. I don't take it off-roading. I want to keep it because I'm 64 now, so obviously, and I can't really afford another car at the moment, so I just want to try and keep that one going as long as possible.
Right, so you're down to your last $500,000 now, aren't you? So.
Yeah. Well, I spent the other 5, so...
So what, leaving school, where did you go to school, Dave?
I went to school, started off at St Mary's in... Levenshulme,
right.
Then progressed when we moved to St Vincent's in Altrincham, Blessed Thomas Holford. Then I went to college for a year or so, and then I went to work at Trafford Park, Trafford Park. GEC, yeah. Right. Yeah, well, my dad and mum worked there previously, so obviously those days it was, if you've got family, your family work there, sort of thing. Yeah. Anyway, I got a job there doing clerical work, but I didn't really enjoy it.
Well, most young boys in those days were following in the father's footsteps, weren't they? And girls were basically looking after the house and bearing children, I suppose, weren't they?
Back in the old days. Depending which view you've got nowadays.
So what was your ambition leaving school, Dave?
Well, I really wanted to join the police. But at the time, the height standards and the vision standards were too controlling, too stringent. Yeah. Anyway, I ended up going into the ambulance service, North West Regional Ambulance Service, and doing accident emergency work. So you have to go away on a 10-week course, medical training in Bolton.
You did A&E work?
A&E work, yes.
You must have seen some horrendous sights doing that.
Well, I wanted to, fatal crashes and stuff like that,
scraping people off the tarmac.
Yeah, and that sort of stuff. I don't think in all the time I was there I had a delivery or a suicide, a hanging or anything. Yeah, when I joined the police 5 years later, while I was on my training, I had a hanging.
So, you had a hanging?
Yeah. So,
you mean you attended somebody that hung themselves? I'd been hung, perhaps.
So I've done quite a few sudden deaths, but I think that was the one and only suicide that I'd had hanging-wise.
So how long were you a police officer? Was you a constable, sergeant?
Constable, 25 years.
Wow.
Out on patrol and duty, but then I sustained injuries over the years, which has left me sort of quite disabled, sort of mobility-wise.
Yeah, hence the wheelchair.
Hence the wheelchair, which I'm sat in now, but also I can use a Zimmer frame, a walking stick, and depending on what I'm doing, it can depend on how long I can stand for and what have you without suffering the pain.
Yeah.
So,
so with all that in mind, then you do really well, really, don't you?
Well, yeah, I try and do my best and what have you. I've just bought myself to try and get myself to go out. I bought myself an electric wheelchair so that I can go out when my wife goes for long walks with the dog, and And I also bought an electric bike, which I've not taken out yet.
Wow, that'd be
I'm
kitting
kitting it out with like all the gadgets and stuff.
You do know that doesn't fully count as exercise, don't you? I mean, it's a little bit of something, I suppose.
No.
But, you know.
Well, I've cheated with this one because it's a DVSA bike, a Whisper,
Right.
and it's DVSA to the fact that it is allowed a throttle, so you can throttle it without up to 15.5 miles an hour without pedaling.
Right.
Yeah. So, I have sat on it and talk about wibbly wobbly, no balance. Yeah, terrified of falling off. Yeah,
a little bit top heavy, Dave. It's fair to say.
Yeah, just a bit. Yeah, just a bit. Yeah, but it will carry my weight. I've checked that.
So coming out of school, college, you joined the ambulance service, then you joined the police.
Yeah, then I retired in 2015. It's nearly 10 years already.
Disability retirement, I assume?
No, just normal retirement.
Right.
Yeah, they wouldn't let me go on disability because they clamped down on that. In the old days, once you said I've got a bad back, they used to sign off. But nowadays, it's funding and this, that, and the other, and they thought like restricted the number of people that would.
Well, this is clearly more than a bad back, isn't it?
Well, yeah, it's basically I suffer with sometimes sciatica, bad back, trouble standing because I don't seem to have the power in my legs for getting up as like I used to. I mean, when I was 30, I mean I'm 64 now, but when I was 30, I always say to people, I used to run 5 miles a day, and I weighed 11 stone. Now I'm like, can't run an inch and a lot heavy. I won't say how heavy, but not an inch. Yeah. But I forgot what running is.
Yeah.
So, but then after the police, I didn't do much for a while, and then somebody suggested trying SA work. You know, acting on the SA.
Supporting artists.
Supporting artists. Yeah.
We used to call them extras back
Extras.
in the day.
Supporting artists.
Yeah.
So I put my name down for a couple of companies, and the first job I had was on a comedy series, Scarborough. That's where I met one of my friends, Mark, and it was based in Scarborough, but the pub scenes that we did were all filmed in Bolton.
Is this Mark Thompson?
Mark Thompson, yeah. So they were filmed in Bolton inside the pub, but outside the pub was all filmed in Scarborough.
Right.
But it only ran for one series. For some reason, the BBC dropped it. But it was written by the guy who did Benidorm, so I would have thought it would have carried on. But you know what TV companies are like.
Yeah. So you gained some experience of being on set, by just being an extra or an SA.
Yeah, and going on like Coronation Street and things like that.
So you were a blurred elbow in the background of the Rovers.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, or a kneecap in one scene and not there in the next. Yeah.
We used to call them leaning Lennies back in the day because they always used to lean trying to get the face on the camera.
Yeah. I'm here.
Yeah. You see them. Some of them they make me laugh because they put a post on social media, and there's two little stripes in the middle of the photograph because they've obviously paused the TV and took a picture of that little 10-second bit where they were on in the background. Yeah. And this is me on Corrie and all that stuff. And
like a little blurred dot.
I've said it many times. If I see one more so-called actor taking a picture of himself next to the Emmerdale sign, I'm going to scream because it just. It does you much more harm than good. It really does.
I must admit, I've seen more of the Emmerdale badge on the wall than the Coronation Street. For some reason.
Coronation Street stopped it. They won't allow it anymore, as far as I'm aware. I've never been an extra actually, but it's
one of the ladies I've met on SA work. She's quite a regular on Coronation Street as an SA supporting artist, but as a policewoman. And she's in fact she was on again last night. So you go, there's so you know. But
once I mean, I suppose some people they don't aspire to be an actor. They're quite happy being an extra or an SA, supporting artist. Because if you think about it logically, I mean, it's not. Some people get frustrated by being an extra. I've spoken to lots and lots and lots of them. Yeah, and it makes them want to become an actor. But so again, if they're getting 125, 150 quid a day for sitting on a double-decker bus getting 3 good meals and then half an hour on the set as somebody in the blurred background.
Or not at all.
Well, to do that, it's better. I always use the simile. It's better than working in a frozen chicken factory for less money. Freezing your cods off all day, processing frozen bloody chickens. I'd much rather be an extra as a living because I know supporting artists that do it professionally and they're on a different set 6 days a week. Now 150 quid a day for 6 days a week. it's better than most wages, that, isn't it, these days?
Well, the thing was, I was finding as I was getting older and the disability seemed to be getting more progressive, that I was struggling more on sets, like getting to the set or having to climb the stairs there or something like that, depending where it was. And they might say have the set here, and say when they said go and get something to eat, it was like 500 or 600 yards down the road, and you had to walk there and walk back, and I was struggling. And then if they said do 2 or 3 days continuity, there's going to be no way, because I know after like 1 or 2 days, I'm in bits
physically.
So I gave that up and thought about doing the acting full time, which is where I'm aiming now.
Right. And are you training now then?
Doing acting classes at Cheetham Hill
Magoo
Studios, Magoo Academy. And I do a 2-hour class once a week. Then if there's any projects coming up for Netflix or anything like that,
then
we'll have first dibs.
Sounds good.
What's going to be down the future, I don't know, but just keep plodding away. When I'm not here, I miss it. The only thing I think is, oh God, I'm going to climb the stairs, because it's an old mill and it's all big steps and stuff there. But when I get here, I enjoy it. When I get home, I've had a good time.
I'm glad you've done it.
But
let me ask you something. Sorry to interrupt you. Let me just ask you this: what barriers do you feel are holding you back from progressing in terms of auditions, in terms of recalls, and lo and behold, getting roles? I'm talking obviously in terms of your disability,
right.
As you know, I'm a disabled actor too.
Yeah.
I'm registered blind. I'm also registered deaf now as well, as of just the other day.
Yeah.
So I've experienced things, it's heartbreaking sometimes. But I do think, and this isn't against anybody, certainly not you or I or anybody else I know that's a disabled actor, I think some of them tend to it's a very easy excuse of why I'm not getting any work, because I've got this wrong or that wrong, and it's not always the case.
No.
Although, do you find that people, and I'm referring to casting directors now and production teams generally, they'll kind of say, oh no, it won't make any difference whatsoever, but in the real world it does.
The classic phrase that I've had back from that is, we've decided to go in a different direction.
Yeah, but every actor gets that. Able-bodied or not.
Yeah, but I mean, if it's something I think I can do, I'll apply for it. But then, like you say, you get the casting director who might say, "Oh, great, fantastic, you're going to be for the part," and then you don't get it. See, and then it turns out it's because of the disability.
But they'll never tell you that though, because they're not allowed to. But in the real world, you kind of know.
Yeah.
I mean. Some years ago, when I was a full-time actor myself, before we were doing all what we do, I've had experiences where people tell it doesn't make any difference, but I didn't declare my blindness for a little while. I had an agent down in London, and they were getting me auditions. I was getting kind of 1 a week, sometimes 6 a month, something like that. And I went to an audition in London. When I got there, for legal reasons, they'd changed the script. One of the legal department had said, we can't say that, let's just change the script. So when I got there, and I was told, forget the script you've been learning off by heart for the last 2 weeks, here's the new one. And of course I had to say, well, I can't read it. And the chap said, well, you can't read. I said, well, I'm registered blind, I assume my agent told you. And he said, no, he didn't tell us. You're going to have to leave. And I was escorted from the building, literally.
It's embarrassing.
No, it's embarrassing, and it cost me the best part of 200 quid to get there and back and feed myself and all the rest of it. And it was just more than anything, in the long-term effect of that on me was, what's the point? What's the fucking point in carrying on? Because to me there isn't. Because I'm thinking, well, if that's going to happen every single time. So what we decided, my agent and I, was we're going to declare it. We're going to now tell them and put it on my Spotlight and put it on my Equity membership and all the other platforms that I was a member of, that I am a vision impaired actor. and I never got another audition. Not one.
No, it's wrong. I'm not saying, and you're probably not saying that every casting director is anti or sort of disableist, but it does limit the work. I mean, obviously, I couldn't go chasing Arnold Schwarzenegger around with a big gun or something because I haven't got the mobility. I could sit there and still shoot him.
Yeah.
But it depends on the story and what have you. I mean, one came up the other week and it said wheelchair user.
Yeah.
But it was the wrong age group. But you get that sort of thing. Wheelchair user, I could go for that.
Yeah. I mean, you could be a taxi driver or Uber driver.
Yeah, Uber driver.
Any sort of sitting. You could even be a barman, couldn't you?
Yeah.
On a stool behind the bar, you look like you stood up. There's ways around it. Yeah. But to be honest with you, when I was, and I've used this word advisedly, when I was just an actor, meaning I didn't do anything else before I was a stunt guy, I was kind of miffed by that experience in London and a few others that I'd heard about. But now, as a filmmaker myself, I kind of half get it. I'm not excusing it.
No.
But they can be as nice as they like, and I'm sure they're all very nice people. In fact, I know most of them are.
Yeah.
But, at the end of the day, they're responsible for every last little thing that goes on that set. And when they see the word blind, in my case, I've got good peripheral vision. I'm centrally blind, so I can't read scripts and I can't drive and stuff like that. But
you can do everything else.
They see the word blind and they think, he's going to be walking into cameras, he's going to be tripping over cables, and it's a liability. And it's a liability that they can ill afford in terms of finances. Or in terms of being sued, which I would never do anyway because I'm not that way inclined. And I certainly would sign a waiver, but they just don't need. They've got that much. I think as an actor, when I was just an actor, I used to look at these people thinking, you do bugger all. You sit in playing the big I am in your caravan, in your changing room or your caravan or whatever. But actually, they've got the weight of the world on the shoulders for the entirety of that set. And why invite a potential hazard
onto the set?
And I can get it. I understand it from that viewpoint now, but. I feel it's changing though. I mean, as you know, I'm a registered BAFTA member as well now, and they've embraced me as a disabled actor, as a disabled filmmaker. They've been absolutely brilliant actually, and same for equity. Spotlight, I don't think it makes a lot of difference. I do get a 50% discount on my membership, which is all
same here.
It's all worth it, and that's great.
And equity, I think.
Yeah, brilliant. But I think it's changing slowly. But the opportunities for someone. I mean, I could appear, for want of a much better term, quote unquote. So I can appear normal. I can appear like a fully abled, fully sighted person. Whereas you can't.
If they wanted a doorman or something like that, you could quite easily do that. Who's to say the doorman that they have is blind anyway, or mobility impaired? But if he's just standing there. Anybody can do that. You see, that wouldn't scratch my itch though as an actor, as a performer. I used to love developing a character. I mean, I've played vampires, I've played doormen, I've played prison officers, I've played all kinds of different characters. So I'm mainly monsters because I'm quite a portly chap. I'm 6'2" and 20 stone. It's roles that suited me. And as long as I didn't need to jump in a car and herd off into the night. No problem. Whereas you can't disguise the fact that you're in a wheelchair, can you? No.
So I would imagine the barriers for you are worse, are more so than they are for someone like me.
I mean, even like when it comes to class, or I'm out walking, and I have to use a walking stick when I get from A to B. When I'm here, obviously, I've got the facility of the chair or the Zimmer frame or whatever. It's mobile. But this is why I've ended up buying myself an electric wheelchair, because I'm thinking, well, I can go out further in that, whether or not they'll have me at a studio. And yet somebody like the BBC, I noticed in, say, Doctor Who a few weeks back, they had a wheelchair user on that. And that's good, because the BBC are obviously looking at disabled actors, and they had another one who's on like one of these little what do you call them, like a mono rider thing. What's the name for it?
A unicycle.
Electric one.
A scooter.
It's just the two wheels, but you lean on it.
Oh gosh, like a little Segway type
Segway,
thing.
like a Segway, and I think what's it, Davis has one as well. I think he has one.
But I've worked with him,
yeah. So if you've got something like that and all that sort of, but I can't apply it. Like when Spotlight throw the jobs out, 90% of them seem to be London based.
Yeah,
and
that's true.
I can't do them as much because of the mobility travelling, and it's a bit of a struggle, travelling time, and getting in and out of taxis, going to hotels, and it's a lot to do. I mean, whether or not I can manage it with a wheelchair, I don't know, but if a job comes up for Manchester, I'm straight in there because it's local, it's only 6-7 miles away.
Well, I'm fairly sure your agent's got all the right details to know what you can and can't be put in for. So.
And I know you're always out there pushing for jobs and what have you. And like I say, who knows what projects are going to come up.
So boiling all that down then, Dave, so are you ambitious still for the future? Are you optimistic about your progression as an actor and your ability to get a role and nail it? And
I think the encouragement comes from yourself as well, being my agent, to say this is what you've got planned, for the future, and you're thinking, that's good. And it's not just for me; it's just for the whole class.
Yeah, the whole group.
Because they're like family to you, and you sort of saying, well, if I can get you all doing this or doing that, that'd be a bonus, as well as individual jobs. So I know the day's going to come. It's just
right. It's good to hear that, Dave.
Yeah. But
not as an agent or anything like that. Just to hear you as a disabled actor.
Yeah.
Still optimistic. You're 64 years old, did
64,
you say?
Yeah.
So and still with ambition within the arts. And I don't see any barriers other than the obvious ones we've spoke about.
Yeah.
There's no reason why you can't be on a Corrie or an EastEnders or an Emmerdale or whatever.
Doing something.
You could be granddad in a rocking chair. Who knows?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what it is, as long as it's a proper role and you're not a glorified extra. Because you don't want to be an extra, do you?
No.
And if you great.
That's why I've moved on to progress myself to. I'm now a member of Equity. IMDb Pro, which also gives a discount for disabilities.
Brilliant.
Spotlight, and have I mentioned Equity? Yeah, I think.
So you've got the whole package of everything you need to move forward.
Yeah, to get there. You're just waiting on that call.
Well, that's brilliant. So, and you're still training?
Still training.
Optimistic.
I've got a class tonight at 7, so
great.
I'll stay here for that and get in the duologues. I think we're supposed to be doing. So
brilliant, good stuff. Well, look, is there anything else you want to say about your career going forward, or anything you want to mention? We're going to wrap it up in a minute. So is anything? No,
I don't think so. I think we've probably covered it. Or unless you've got any questions.
No, not really. Cause I think because I know you pretty well anyway. Yeah. But I felt that you had a story to tell the world.
Yeah.
As an ex-policeman, as an ex-ambulance worker, as an ex-whatever, and at 64 and and a wheelchair user.
Yeah.
You still have all the ambition in the world to get and nail roles.
Yes, yeah.
So, with all due respect to actors everywhere, able-bodied and otherwise, there's no excuse for being down. There's no excuse for saying, "Oh, I can't do this because of it." I'm sorry, it's crap. It's absolute bullshit. Yeah. Because I'm a disabled actor, you're a disabled actor, and we're both banging on the door still.
Yeah.
And it will open. I know it will. So.
Yeah. What's this space?
Exactly. Well, listen, it's been a pleasure.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming. I really appreciate it. And it's
enjoyed
great
the chat.
to give you the opportunity, because I kind of knew it, you know that.
Yeah.
But I wanted the world to hear it. And I'm going to make sure they do.
Yeah, thanks very much.
Thanks.
Thank you.